Jesus posted this video today. Skins should be dying. Why aren't they? And I just got finished watching it, and I think you should watch it too. I think obviously Jesus is a really good content creator, and I am a CS2 market nerd. I am a skins nerd. I love being able to watch any content, any deep dives, any theories, any discussions, any stuff like this. And he is obviously one of the places you can go to for information like this. And this is a very, very nerdy deep dive video into the skins market and why the market isn't crashing right now when it probably should be. This is something that I've been thinking about a lot recently. It's something that I've been talking about in some of my recent videos, and it's something that I wanted to go over and react to this video a little bit today because I think Jesus brings up some interesting points. I think he brings up some stuff that I agree with, some stuff that I don't agree with. Again, at the end of the day, he is not talking about facts. He's talking about opinions and theories and just kind of thinking deeply about different areas and opportunities and stuff and why maybe different stuff has happened. Obviously, at the end of the day, the skins market doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to make sense. Really, no markets make sense. If you know about stocks or crypto or anything like that, sometimes they seemingly just have weird moves or moves that you can't really try and make 100% sense of. But I do think there's some things that I think about or have some theories about in this market as well of why the skin market has not been crashing, why this thing has not been catastrophically going down over the past month, and what the heck is going on here. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this video today. I'm talking about some of the also interesting points that Jesus brought up as well. So in the past month, things have actually been going kind of well. Honestly, the fact that the market didn't crash is a big win and means things that are going very well. Because again, at the beginning of April, we saw a lot of weird and interesting stuff happening. We saw some big changes to like the API, some big changes to the peer-to-peer trading websites where a lot of people thought skins were kind of fucked. Skins were going to be crashing down. Skins were going to be devastated by, stuff like Float going completely offline for a couple weeks. Stuff like Skinbit and GamerPay and a lot of these sites going down. But you can see here that the market stayed very, very strong from the beginning of April. We're actually up significantly from there. This is the CS2 all items graph on Esport Fire. We were at about 3.84 back then. We're up to about 3.94 now. But you can see obviously things have been staying pretty steady or even going up small percentages, which is very, very great news. And of course, we have weathered that storm. CS Flow is back. GamerPay is back. Skinbit is back. A lot of these sites are back. Buff Market and Buff163 are still out there, still going strong. They never really got affected too much by any of this. There was maybe some short outages or some short issues or whatever. And then, of course, you've always had the bot trading sites, and you have had stuff like the Steam Marketplace. So, yes, there was some short-term turmoil and some short-term kind of wondering what the heck was going on. But things have remained good. One thing that Jesus talks about is the fact that the market has already crashed. So to have a second crash, or for things to crash even further, things need to get really, really, really bad. Not just as bad as they were or whatever, but he thinks things need to get worse. And that is an idea that I don't necessarily agree with. So he talks about how the market has crashed again from its highs in like April of 2023. We're now exactly a year removed from the CS2 announcement and the CS2 hype and the CS2 mania that got the market to these insane points. And we are now down to these points a year later. But if you zoom out even further, and you kind of, I think what you should do is zoom out even further and look at where we were. Obviously, this is the all-time for the Esport Fire. It doesn't go back further than this, but you can also look at item graphs on like Steam or whatever and anything that has an extended market timeline. You'll see a similar story that skins used to be much lower in 2023, 2022, whatever. And if you zoom out, you'll see we are still on an upward trend of where we are. Again, look at January 2023 and look at where we are now. We are on an upward trend. Yes, we got ahead of ourselves in these different periods in April of 2023, in September of 2023. This is close to the CS2 release, stuff like that. Things got a little crazy. Things got ahead of themselves and things pulled back down. But we were at prices at these points that never made any sense. These prices during the CS2 release and hype were priced in as if CS2 was going to have, 5 million concurrent players and like a 10 million player peak, and that skins were just going to go up infinitely forever, and CS2 was going to be the perfect game and the perfect release, and every gamer on earth was going to be playing CS2. That stuff didn't make sense. So us coming back down was getting more in line with where the numbers actually were. Now, obviously, it is a little bit concerning that, and you could say, hey, the player base is kind of rebounding to similar levels to where we were in April and May and June. Peak players, again, being very, very close to those points as well. So why are the prices not back up there? Again, that's because those prices never made sense. Those prices were overinflated. Those prices were kind of over-enthusiastic. And yes, we have crashed down. But again, with the growing player base that we have seen growth from the beginning of 2023, again, January 2023, we had 726,000 players. Now we have 924,000. And again, if you look at this graph, the market is up from that time. The market is increasing when that player base increases. increases. So you could say, yes, the market has crashed, but really the overall value of the skins and stuff haven't really crashed in line of a lot of those fundamentals. They kind of crash in line with over exuberance in the market. So I don't necessarily think that we didn't see a crash because we had already seen a crash. Part of why I think we didn't see a crash and why prices haven't been getting that insane is the fact that, one, all the trading websites never went down. Again, so much of this market, and Jesus talks about this as well, the market is so fragmented. You have buff traders, you have float traders, you have people who like trade for gambling sites, you have people who just play the game and don't trade at all. You have just a million different ways and a million different marketplaces. We're not very centralized at all right now. And the fact that Buff 163 never went down, Buff Market never went down, people always had options and opportunities to be buying and selling their skins, even though there was this turmoil. So while it might have seemed like doom and gloom and depression and devastation for this guy on Twitter or this guy on Reddit or whatever, there's some people in some pockets of the CS community who don't even know that anything ever happened, that nothing ever changed for them. And yes, there are another kind of segment of this is people saying, how is the market not crashing? And every time I go on Twitter, I see a new person saying, hey, CS2 skins are dead. I'm worried. I'm panicking. I'm selling everything. But again, 10 or 15 or 20 or even 50 people on Twitter does not encapsulate this whole market very well. This market is now very, very huge. It's international. It's global. It's so fragmented that it doesn't really matter when those people were selling. And again, these people who were selling out, they weren't having trouble selling. And you have to remember, every time somebody is selling, there's somebody on the buying end. And it's not like these people were selling for dirt cheap prices or anything like that. Again, you know they weren't selling for dirt cheap prices. You can see the market has been like mostly stable. Another thing here is that I know a lot of people keep referencing, and Jesus talks about it in this video as well, this video from the Score Esports, because it's just it was an interesting, thumbnail talking about the War Owl, an Anomaly, an Arrow, these guys who are saying they are quitting CS2 or they're going to be taking a break from CS2 or whatever. They're just talking about playing CS2. And I know that might scare people and be like, oh, if all the top content creators are quitting the game, this has got to be bad for the game, right? But again, no, we can look at the player base numbers and see that people aren't quitting the game. The game is growing. This game is increasing in popularity, is increasing in players. Yes, there are a few big content creators who have been playing this game for God knows how many years, 10, 15, 20 years, whatever, who are taking a break. They are not done. They're not never going to play CS2 again. They are taking a break. And something you need to keep in mind is that markets are forward-looking. Markets are forward-facing. You are not trying to anticipate the price of skins right now. You are trying to, when you buy a skin, you're trying to anticipate the gains you will be able to get on it in the future. And again, if you thought Anomaly was never going to play CS2 again and never make CS2 content again, and he was going to switch up to some other game and he was going to bring his fan base with him, and Arrow and War Owl and all these guys, that might affect the market differently than if you just thought Anomaly is going to take one single person is not going to play CS2 Premier for a couple of months, and they're going to continue to stream CS2 and make CS2 videos and content every single day or week or month or whatever, like Anomaly and Arrow and War Owl are going to do. Yes, this is makes a nice clickbait title and thumbnail and all this stuff, but it doesn't really matter that much. Anomaly is still making CS2 content all the time. That is still growing the CS2 fan base and keeping people interested in the game and all that stuff. We also, again, we see the player base numbers are doing well. We also just saw the viewership for Copenhagen Major did very, very well. People are enjoying CS2 right now. Are there issues with it? Yes. Do things need to be fixed? Yes. Is the cheating problem huge and massive? Yes. But again, even with the cheating problem, Jesus talks about this as well. A lot of the players are not as affected by this as some of your top content creators, top players, pro players, all that stuff. Again, you're going to see way more cheaters in the top ranks of Premier than you are to the average Premier game, or where, 20, 30, 50, 70, 90% of the player base of CS2 is going to be. Your average person who hasn't played Counter-Strike in a while and is returning back to the game and is going to be in 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 ELO in Premier or whatever, they're not going to be seeing many cheaters. They're not going to be seeing nearly as many cheaters as people at the top are. So again, if cheating was such a big, huge issue and everyone was quitting the game and the game sucked, blah, 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 cheating is a big issue. But I'm saying if it was such a big issue that it was driving people away from the game, we would not be seeing this month-over-month growth that we are seeing right now. And again, if I thought that Anomaly was never going to be involved with CS2 ever again, he was going somewhere else, that would be a much bigger sign for the market and a much bigger bad sign for the market than just him not playing Premier for a couple weeks and keep pumping out videos and keep kind of bringing people into this game. So there is a couple just huge major reasons why I kind of am starting to understand more why I'm kind of theorizing why the market is not crashing more. And the more I realize that it's not crashing, the more I'm feeling better about things. Because again, zooming out and looking at this and see that the market is in a healthy growing state. Yes, we are down from these big points, but we are doing well when you kind of remove these outliers and look back to where we were. And I think it's a very, very interesting time. And now I'm obviously super happy happy and super excited that Float and all these other sites are back. I've been trading more. I've been making more sales. I want to get fully fledged back into my cash trading business because things were going so well before the whole kind of API debacle and all that stuff. But there is so much in my brain that was preparing and getting ready for a market crash. So I understand why people are asking these questions. Why isn't the market crashing? What the heck is going on? But when you kind of sit back and take a step back and remove yourself from some of the clickbait and mania and all this stuff, you might understand a little bit more that one, these things are hard to understand. And two, the long-term health of CS2 is still in a very good state. If the cheating problem gets solved and if Valve starts to do some of the things that people want to do, these people who are saying that they're quitting CS2 right now, it's not because they don't believe that CS2 is going to be a great game a year from now or 2 years from now or 5 years from now or whatever. They're just frustrated with this current state. But the current state, the today, right now, doesn't really matter as much for the market prices. And again, as a whole, it seems like a lot of people aren't panicking or selling out because, again, the market would be crashing if that was the case. So there are a ton of negative things going on right now, but there's also a lot of positives, a lot of good things, and apparently those are outweighing the bad, at least for right now, because we're seeing some good growth in the markets. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Hopefully catch the next one. Until then, peace.